Today we're going to be going over some perfect signature scents that any guy could wear for any situation you could think of. Keeping it super easy, super simple with these. You don't have to worry about coordinating these to certain times of the year or certain situations that you might be going to. These are as simple as you pick it up, you spray it on, and you go out the door, no matter where it is that you're going and what time of year it is. And like I've said before, there are definitely certain scents that are better for certain times of the year. You know, you might have a warmer tobacco scent that's obviously going to be better for when it's colder outside. And so you'll find the trend for a lot of these are going to be in the fresher direction, but not necessarily all fresh. They have some balance to them, and that's kind of what helps them work year round. We're actually starting off with a sport fragrance. This is Dior Homme Sport 2021. This one has lemon, bergamot, and some woody notes in here. There's some elemi, also some kind of peppery notes. This is a really, really good sport scent, and it is not as fresh and sporty as you might think. I've said that before, and when you compare this to the other Dior Homme Sport releases that we've had going all the way back to the first one being in 2008, this is probably the least sporty. They really did a good job of giving it a lot more depth, richness, and woody undertones to just make it stand out and have a little bit more power behind it rather than being on the fresher end of things as a whole like the other ones. And so I really like it because of the fact that it does have more of an interesting and different style about it. And just comparing it to other sport scents on the market from other brands like, you know, Chanel Allure Homme Sport or something like that, there's a big difference between those. That Chanel has some C notes, orange, does have some sweet notes, aldehydes, tonka, and things like that, but this one is considerably heavier and richer and stronger. And so don't mistake this one as being a summer scent only, you know, or something you would even consider wearing to the gym as a dedicated gym scent, given the name sport. Again, it's not really that fresh. But I do think this one has a nice balance overall, and it could be used for anything, any time of the year. Spring, summer, fall, winter, whatever. Chances are it's going to work well for you. Next up we have a Zara Chrome Parfum. This one has fir resin, sage, and bergamot here. I really like this one. I would say this and Chrome Extreme are my two favorite Chrome scents. Chrome Extreme is really hard to beat. Probably still like that one better, but Chrome Parfum is right behind it. And this one is a lot newer. This is, well, I guess this is their current newest release. I think it was a 2023 release, and so this is kind of the latest and greatest until Chrome Elixir probably comes out. Maybe, maybe not, but wouldn't be surprised. But I think they did a good job here overall. They're following the typical trend and progression that pretty much every big designer and even some niche brands are following. EDT, EDP, Parfum, and so on. Now they've kind of gone out of order here a little bit, or they've had some things in between, but now they have just a true dedicated Parfum, and I do like it. It's nothing that's going to completely blow you away because it's super unique, but at the same time, it doesn't smell like any of the other Chrome releases, or really, it doesn't smell like anything else in particular. It's a familiar scent DNA that you're familiar with. It's kind of a redundant terminology there, but it's something that you've likely smelled before in this category, but it doesn't clone anything else, if that makes sense. But ultimately, I think this is a great everyday wear signature scent, especially now as it's becoming more available on discounters. It is worth checking out if you can get it for a price that's below retail. This next one is coming in at around $40. It's also a newer release, and now time flies, so I can't remember if this was like an early 2023 or late 2022. I can't remember. It seems like it was yesterday that this came out because it's relatively new. And it was kind of a big deal. Offen Non 9 AM Dive. So this one has apple, mint, lemon, and incense. And, you know, this is kind of riding off a decent amount of hype from 9 PM, Offen Non 9 PM, and that's an Ultra Male clone. And it did really well. Still is one that's pretty popular because it's about half the price of actual Ultra Male, and so it's big savings there. And Ultra Male itself is already kind of a hype beast, and so no surprise, you know, 9 PM did well. Now, obviously, judging by the notes, this is nothing like 9 PM or Ultra Male. And this is kind of an interesting one because when you smell it, it's not as obvious as some of the other clones out there. And it's not as obvious as 9 p.m. This is more of a hybrid situation to me. So it kind of mixes a little bit of Bleu de Chanel, kind of mixes a little bit of like a Sauvage / Aqua Atlantique kind of somewhat watery note in here as well. I understand Sauvage doesn't have a watery note, but Atlantique does. Atlantique kind of ties back to Sauvage because of the ambroxan, so there's some of that going on. Even a little bit of like an Elysium vibe later on when the woods start to come through a tiny bit. So yeah, like I'm saying, not as obvious of a clone as some of the others, but it's still a really good release. And I think it's not a bad thing that this one kind of stands on its own a little bit more. At the price point it's at, I can't really have anything bad to say about it. It does perform good. Quality's great for the price. Nice presentation as well. Something you could wear whenever you want. I believe this next one is on the newer end of things as well, but all of these are on discounters now, so it doesn't really matter. You can pretty much get all these below retail, even if they're newer. Brioni Eau de Parfum Essentiel. Now, this is featuring an interesting note breakdown. Tomato, bergamot, patchouli. Tomato is always such an interesting one. It throws people off. It sounds weird. Might even sound gross to some people who don't like tomato or just can't imagine that smell being in a scent. But I can assure you it doesn't smell like you're cutting into a tomato or something and putting it on your hamburger. It doesn't smell like that. To me, it's more of a tomato leaf, and I think oftentimes that's kind of, even if they're not describing it that way, that's kind of what it comes across as smelling like, just kind of more of a leafy green type of smell, and that's kind of how it's being presented here. You know, when you think of something like Valentino, Uomo, Aqua, that one has tomato leaf in it, really makes it stand out. Kind of a similar smell or similar style that this one has. The smells nothing like that Valentino, but that note in particular, there are some similarities. This one was a huge surprise for me, and to be fair, I do like this line as a whole. The EDP, the EDP Intense, Eclat, right, they're all really good. Again, this is the latest one here, but this one really was something different, and it was an instant love. I mean, go back and watch my first impressions. I was hooked on it the second I smelled it, and I still love it, especially off the opening. This is super interesting. Green, earthy, kind of minty almost, with a sweet undertone and a masculine kind of warm woodiness coming from that patchouli note, which really comes through, kind of similar to the patchouli used in Guerlain, L'Instante Guerlain Eau de Parfum, in my opinion, a little bit. Not quite as intense, but in a similar ballpark. So a really kind of warm, earthy, kind of heavy patchouli, almost with a slight sweet bite. It smells phenomenal. This is a really good, very unique release. If you're in the boat of all the new designer stuff smells the same, you're not wrong, and this is something that is not in that boat. So check it out if you just want something different. Coming in at around $45 to $50, we have a Creed Aventus clone. Just put it up front and center. Most of you know that anyway. Mont Blanc Explorer. And if you don't know that, well, now you do. You can essentially achieve a similar result that Creed Aventus will get you for about $50 or a bit less. Aventus itself, you know, retails for $450 or something odd dollars, maybe even north of that, probably at this point, maybe closer to $500. I don't know for sure. On discounters, it's going to be usually, you know, $300, something like that. So big savings here no matter what way you cut it. And it's a great scent. There's a ton of other options out there, so take your pick. Whatever your favorite Aventus clone is can be slotted in place of Explorer. But if you're not sure yet, you don't have any, Explorer is a good place to start. It's still a designer brand, so it's something where, you know, if you wanted to go out and buy it at retail, you could. If you wanted to at least go try it in stores first, you can go into a store and spray on Mont Blanc Explorer. You can't go into Macy's or Sephora and try Armaf Club de Nuit Intense Man. That's not going to work. So that is what's nice about these designer brand clones, is they are easier to at least get your nose on. But I always recommend, if you're going to try it in store, don't let them talk you into buying it and spending $90 when you can get it online for $45. Now this next one, unfortunately, you can't get on discounters anywhere. You got to bite the bullet and pay full retail every time. If you're not doing that, you're probably buying a fake, or you're overpaying retail, because some discounters still do carry Chanel, but they legally have to mark them up. So keep that in mind. But this is Platinum Egoiste. In the grand scheme of things, this is not absurdly priced. A lot of the Bleu de Chanel's and the Allure Hommes and stuff will be more expensive than this. This one really isn't too bad at retail. We're talking just a bit over $100, which in this day and age, compared to a lot of the Elixir releases being up into the 150s, 170s, 180s, and beyond, this is not bad at all. No longer is it the fact that Chanel is the most expensive designer brand anymore. It's crazy because 6 years ago, they kind of were. Everybody else was lower in price. So that's how times are changing right now. And I kind of hate to see the price of the new Chanel that maybe comes out at some point, you know, who knows when. But if they're going to be doing an Elixir or doing something like that, and they have to compete with Gucci and Dior putting out these crazy priced Elixirs, who knows how much the new Chanel is going to cost. Wouldn't it be funny if Chanel just came in and undercut everybody else, though, just because, you know, they could? That'd be pretty cool, but probably not going to happen. This one has lavender, geranium, and rosemary. Very aromatic, more of an aromatic fougere, barbershop style. Smells amazing. It's an aromatic fougere, but with a modern twist. That's what I like so much about it. It doesn't smell like an old man like most barbershop scents. So this one is a good way to stand out and smell a little bit more in tune with today's times, so to speak. Next up, we have Amage Portrayal, man. I mean, if nothing else, the bottle on this looks great. Really like it. Part of the reason why I was so excited about buying this one, you guessed it, is because of the bottle. I like bottles. I'll just be the first to admit. Presentation, I really like it. And this one here looks great. This one has violet leaves, vetiver, and cade oil. And cade oil is the same as juniper tar, according to Fragrantica. I had to look that one up. So another one that is woody, kind of green, with an aromatic, kind of bright, sparkly, spicy juniper note, essentially. Smells nice with a real kind of syrupy undertone as well. So this is another one that looks fresh on paper and is, but it does have kind of a heavier, denser, richer undertone as well, making it perfect for cooler times of the year as well as a warmer spring day. So there's a lot of range for this. Price point is going to be up there compared to the designers, although on discounters, I don't think this one's too bad. It's going to be under $200, I'm pretty sure. So one that you can pick up if you want niche that's not going to break the bank. And keep in mind, we're talking a little under $200 for 100 milliliters. A lot of niche is offered in 50 and sometimes less for the same price. And so, you know, in the grand scheme of things, a lot of Amage is very reasonable. Burberry Hero Eau de Parfum is up next on our list here. We have benzoin, cedar, and pine needles. Another woody, smoky, spicy one. There's some incense in the base as well. I don't think I mentioned that, but with a little bit of a sweetness from that benzoin, which is kind of like a powdery vanilla, essentially. I like this one. The original Hero wasn't one that I got too excited about. I have to say, they did a fantastic job with this Eau de Parfum. It's considerably better than the original, and one that I would definitely consider picking up. You know, if I didn't have this anymore, I would buy it again, knowing what I know now about how it smells. Because when I was going into it, given my track record with the EDT, I wasn't all that excited about it, but it's really good. Magnetic cap, great atomizer, great smell, great performance. They did a good job with this. Something you could wear pretty much any time. CH Men by Carolina Herrera is up next. This is the old bottle, but the new bottles are just as good too. Not a whole lot of a difference there. No need to go track these down. This one has grass, leather, and sugar. Very unique leather scent that is very wearable. It's even more wearable than Ombre Leather by Tom Ford, which is already a very tamed leather scent. This one even more so, with a green smell, no surprise, and a bit of a sweetness from the sugar in here. There is just something that's super unique and special about this one. And CH Men Privé, love that one as well, but of course discontinued. This is kind of the next best thing you can get. And there's a big difference between those two, but they're still making this one. You can get it for a little bit under $50 pretty much at any discounter, so it's worth grabbing up. Last up for this video, Aqua Deo Parfum, Aqua Deo Profumo, whichever you want to call it. I've been wearing this one in wintertime. I love the DNA, can't get enough of it. It's got sea notes, patchouli, and was incense, or, well, now I'm getting myself confused. Between the Profumo and the Parfum, they replaced one of the notes. I think it was, now it has olibanum instead of incense, something like that. So there's a small change, but essentially it smells almost identical. The opening is a bit better on the Parfum. It's improved. It's a little bit more smooth, but the rest of the DNA basically is untouched. Yeah, so nowadays, if you were to buy Aqua Deo Profumo, you would just go out and buy the Parfum. And when it comes down to it, this is something that can be worn for any situation that you can possibly think of. So that's why it's in the video. And again, this one is nothing new to the channel. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. Some fragrances that would work great as a signature scent that you could wear anywhere, anytime. Any guy could pull these off. As long as you like how they smell, they're going to work for you. I'll link them all down below to discounters, and if you want to be notified of anything rare, discontinued, or hard to find coming into stock, if you sign up to my mailing list, texting list at the link and number down below, you'll be the first to hear about anything like that. You know, rare stuff from Armani Code Absolute to YSL Blue Electrique, both of those have come into stock within the past few weeks here. You just had to be quick. They sell out fast, and so being on my list allows you to get a notification straight to your phone so you can act on it before they sell out and you can get your bottle. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.